The U.S. immigration crackdown has reached new extremes, and for millions of immigrants, the consequences are more than just numbers. They're real lives, families, and entire communities being torn apart. In 2025, the Trump administration is intensifying deportations, and it's affecting countries like never before. The question on everyone's mind is simple: could your country be next? Welcome to Discover Top 5, where we dive deep into the pressing issues impacting society today. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. We cover everything from global politics to human rights issues. And today, we're tackling one of the most urgent topics out there: the wave of deportation sweeping across the United States. Over the next few minutes, we'll take you through a comprehensive look at how thousands of immigrants from countries around the world are being caught in the crosshairs of U.S. immigration enforcement. From Honduras to Iran, from Mexico to Pakistan, we'll be discussing the realities these people are facing and what it means for families who built lives in America. The stakes are high, and the stories are deeply personal. In this video, we'll break down the numbers, the policies, and the lives impacted by these mass deportations. How is the Trump administration justifying this crackdown? What does it mean for countries already dealing with political instability, violence, and economic collapse? And most importantly, what is the human cost of these policies? At Discover Top 5, we believe in keeping you informed with the most up-to-date and comprehensive analysis. So grab a seat, because what you're about to hear might shock you. Let's dive in. The immigration crackdown has escalated to new levels, with the U.S. intensifying deportation efforts like never before. In 2025, over 261,000 Hondurans are facing deportation orders, and ICE operations are moving faster than ever. Entire communities are being ripped apart as families are separated, and thousands of Hondurans are being sent back to a country already struggling with widespread poverty, violence, and instability. For many who have lived in the U.S. for years working, raising children, and contributing to their communities, this is a devastating blow. Honduras already faces serious challenges like high crime rates and economic instability. Sending thousands back without a clear reintegration plan could push the country further into crisis. But if Honduras is facing such a massive deportation crisis, which countries are next? Over 253,000 Guatemalans are now at risk of deportation. Guatemala has become one of the hardest-hit nations, with thousands facing forced removal. While the U.S. government justifies these actions with claims of national security, the reality is far more complex. Many of these deportees have lived in the U.S. for years, worked in jobs that many Americans won't do, and raised families. The Guatemalan government has agreed to accept more deportation flights than ever before, but with the country already struggling with violence and a weak job market, it's unclear how these deportees will be able to reintegrate. What happens when the U.S. sends thousands of people back to a country with limited opportunities and few resources to support them? The answer remains grim. The deportation crisis has also hit Mexico hard, with over 252,000 Mexicans facing deportation in 2025. ICE operations are intensifying, and deportation flights are increasing at an alarming rate. Mexico has long had an unspoken arrangement with the U.S., where millions of immigrants have crossed the border to work, send money back home, and often stay for years. But now, with the ramped-up deportations, many of those who have lived in the U.S. for decades are being sent back to a country where they no longer recognize their surroundings. In cities like Tijuana and Ciudad Juarez, shelters are already overflowing, and deportees are arriving with nowhere to go. Without family connections or job prospects, many are left homeless, vulnerable to exploitation, and at risk of being caught up in the violence that plagues many parts of Mexico. The crisis isn't just affecting individuals, it's affecting entire communities, and the Mexican government is struggling to keep up with the flood of returning migrants. Next on the list is El Salvador, where over 23,000 Salvadorans are facing deportation orders in 2025. Many of these individuals fled gang violence and extreme poverty years ago, but now they are being sent back to the same dangers they escaped. El Salvador has one of the highest homicide rates in the world, fueled by gang wars, and the economy is in freefall. For many deportees, returning means facing a life of violence, poverty, and uncertainty. Some deportees are easy targets for gang recruitment or extortion, especially those without family or support networks. Despite their years of hard work and contributions in the U.S., they are being thrown back into a system where survival is a daily struggle. While the focus tends to be on Latin American countries, deportations are now affecting people from all corners of the globe, including China. Over 25,000 Chinese nationals are at risk of deportation in 2025, Many of these individuals entered the U.S. legally on student visas, work permits, or as investors, but now expired visas or denied renewals have left them vulnerable to removal. Some have built lives in the U.S., contributing to industries like tech, real estate, and small businesses. With strained U.S.-China relations, some believe that these deportations may be part of a political strategy. Deportees who have openly criticized the Chinese government while living in the U.S. could face severe consequences upon return, including government surveillance or punishment. The economic situation in China is also dire, with limited opportunities for returning migrants. Deportees fear not only the loss of their livelihood but the possibility of retaliation from the government. Haiti, one of the most devastated countries in the Western Hemisphere, is now experiencing one of the largest deportations in recent history. Over 125,000 Haitians are facing deportation orders. The country has been in free fall for years, with gang violence controlling much of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and the government struggling to provide basic services. Yet, despite these dire conditions, thousands are being forced back. Haiti cannot support the influx of deportees. The lack of infrastructure, health care, and safety has made the situation unbearable for those being sent back. Many deportees have lived in the U.S. for decades and no longer remember life in Haiti. Now, they are being sent to a country with no safety net, no jobs, and a government that can barely maintain control. For some, returning could mean a death sentence, as they are vulnerable to gang violence and exploitation. Venezuela, already in the midst of an economic collapse, is seeing over 150,000 deportations in 2025. Many of these deportees fled their country's brutal economic conditions, political repression, and food shortages, only to face the same hardships upon return. The U.S. had previously granted temporary protected status (TPS) to many Venezuelans, but that protection is now being stripped away. Venezuela is still deep in crisis, with inflation skyrocketing, food scarcity, and widespread political persecution. Deportees face the possibility of being abandoned with no resources, no family support, and no way to survive. Returning to Venezuela means being sent back to a collapsing economy where basic necessities are out of reach and personal safety is in jeopardy. Pakistan is now experiencing a surge in deportations, with over 40,000 Pakistani nationals facing removal. Many of these individuals have lived in the U.S. for years, either legally or illegally, but are now being targeted by ICE. Even those who entered on valid visas are being sent back due to the increasing number of visa denials and enforcement crackdowns. Pakistan is in the midst of political turmoil, high inflation, and an unstable job market. Deportees are being sent to a country where they have no support system, and some are even facing scrutiny from Pakistan's government for their time spent abroad. The U.S. has no formal repatriation agreement with Pakistan, and the deportations are only increasing, causing tensions between the two nations. Another country being hit hard by mass deportations is Iran. Over 15,000 Iranians are at risk of removal, many of whom fled political persecution, economic instability, or imprisonment. Deportees are being sent back to a country where they could face imprisonment, torture, or worse, especially if they've been politically active during their time in the U.S. The Iranian government has a history of targeting individuals who have lived abroad, especially those who have criticized the regime or engaged in political activism. Deportation could mean facing a lifetime of punishment and scrutiny from Iranian authorities. Meanwhile, Iran's economy continues to struggle under international sanctions, making it nearly impossible for deportees to find work or survive. Lastly, Uzbekistan has emerged as a surprising new target for deportations. Over 12,000 Uzbek nationals are now facing removal orders. Most of these individuals came to the U.S. through work visas, asylum programs, or student exchanges, seeking better opportunities. However, many have overstayed their visas and are now being sent back, despite contributing to the economy in industries like construction, hospitality, and transportation. Uzbekistan isn't prepared to take back thousands of deportees. With high unemployment and limited job opportunities, many of these individuals are being returned to a country where they have no support and limited prospects for rebuilding their lives.
Thank you for watching this video from Discover Top 5. We know it's not always easy to digest the harsh realities happening around the world, but understanding these issues is key to making informed decisions about the future. The deportation crisis is far from over, and the stories of these families, these communities, and the countries involved are critical to the conversation. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might need to hear these important stories. We believe that knowledge is power, and the more people are aware, the more we can work toward meaningful change. Every view, every share, and every comment helps us spread awareness and keep the conversation going. At Discover Top 5, we strive to bring you the most comprehensive, well-researched content on the issues that matter most. We'll continue to cover the stories that aren't being talked about enough, dive into the most pressing global topics, and give you the facts you need to stay informed. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We're here to keep you up to date on the top issues shaping our world. Before we end today's video, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with the U.S. immigration crackdown, or do you think it's a humanitarian disaster waiting to unfold? How do you think these deportations will impact the countries involved, and what do you believe should be done to address the situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We always love hearing from our viewers and engaging in thoughtful discussions. Thank you again for tuning in to Discover Top 5, and as always, stay informed, stay compassionate, and keep discovering the world around you. Until next time.